All right, all right. I'm back at the podcast today. We're in our Manasquan studio, and I'm here via a Zoom with a guy they call Rev. The whole world knows him as Rev. His name is David Ciancio, but the whole world refers to him as Rev, as he's an ordained guy. And so, welcome on the show, Rev.
Tom, thanks for having me. It's a real honor to be here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're not too far apart from each other. We're both in the Garden State, but you're more north, and I am on the shore, as you know. So I thought it'd be great.
About what, $6 to $8 of tolls in between the two of us?
Oh yeah, probably. And it could be an hour and a half of traffic on a bad day. You catch a Saturday after Memorial Day, and it's not easy to meet up with each other.
Amen. So, insert Jersey joke here.
Yeah, right. So you and I have known each other, follow each other on some social medias for a couple of years. We were first introduced through Baboo's Burritos, and I've been watching what you've been doing with this new online order platform, and that's why my team reached out to you, because I thought you'd be a great guest on our podcast, and to talk about that, talk about how it's the food service world for the independent operators, and kind of that's my thought process for our chat this morning.
Awesome. Excited to talk about all of that.
All right. So kind of give us your background and tell us, how you got into the food service game, and, where you've been and what you're doing.
Sure. Well, I'm going to shorten a very long story. I was in the music business for the first half of my career. That's what I wanted to do. And then one day I woke up and I got tired of dealing with musicians. I was like, I'm going to go in the restaurant business. And I found out something very quickly, that restaurant owners and chefs aren't that different from musicians. As I tell my music business friends who are still in it, who ask me, what's the restaurant business like? I'm like, well, you can't download a cheeseburger. But anyway, I opened a bar in 2010 in the East Village, and that kind of really started my journey into food service. And later on, I ended up, I was in the music business. I left. I opened the bar. I started getting into the restaurant business. Ended up at a couple of tech companies, and then at the end of 2019, I was the chief marketing officer for a technology company called Single Platform that some people here may have heard of. Sure. They help restaurants to manage their menus on Google, Yelp, Bing, Yahoo, etc. And we had gotten bought by TripAdvisor at the end of 2019. In the beginning of 2020, they were supposed to be assimilating our company into theirs. I mean, we were 125 mighty people. They were thousands, global industry. And this thing happened called COVID. You might have blinked and missed it. I don't know. It's pretty quick. And TripAdvisor, being a global travel organization, instead of incorporating us, they were losing millions of dollars a day, and they let everybody go. So it was February 27th of 2020 before we actually in quote unquote pandemic status. And I got let go and said, all right, well, nobody's going to hire a tech CMO going into this global pandemic. I guess I'll go start a consulting agency and we'll see what happens. And here we are 4 years later and running a relatively robust business. I have two types of clients. Half my clients are technology companies, and I help them with getting audience with my other client, which are multi-unit restaurant brands, who I help make marketing decisions. So, and then additionally, I also opened a hamburger shop in New York City. So I'm a restaurant consultant, I'm a restaurant marketer, I'm a restaurant owner, and I'm obsessed with fidget spinners.
All right. So what part of the job you like the best?
The food? I mean, come on. The food's the best part of the job. What's your favorite part?
Exactly. You're right. But one thing that you're doing now, which is pretty darn cool, is Baboo, huh?
Yes, sir. So,
How did that start?
There's a funny story. So I was on a call kind of just like this, April of last year of 2023. And I went to order from this restaurant in my town of Rutherford, where I live, that I love. And it's my favorite cheat day place. And I was having cheat day, and I was on the call, and I was multitasking. I was like, I'm going to go order a couple of sandwiches. So I go over to their website, and they don't have online. They actually didn't even have an HTML menu. I was like, hold on, this is a problem. I want to order. There's no online ordering. So I go to DM them because they're pretty active on social. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to place an online order. Like, where's the online order? And they were like, oh, go to Uber Eats. And I was like, no way. First of all, I know you increased your prices by 25 to 30%, and you're already expensive. Like, I know you increased your prices on Uber Eats to make up for the horrible commission they take. So no, I'm not getting screwed. Number two, I know that Uber Eats is going to charge me $11 for a fee when I live 4 minutes walk from the restaurant. Like, we're not doing that either. And so I was like, just give me a chicken sandwich. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
That's great that you ended up doing a DM order.
Yeah, DM order, right? And so I drive over. It's a 4-minute drive from my house. I park my car. I'm walking down Park Avenue in Rutherford, and I'm realizing we have lots of great independent restaurants in this town. They're all doing that. If they don't have online orders, they have a Grubhub button on their website. And I was like, this is horrible. There's this company, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats that makes billions of dollars a year. And here's all these independent restaurants just trying to like get a chicken sandwich to a dude in a Hawaiian shirt. And I was like, this is really terrible. Like this. And so I called my buddy Andrew at Boozy Burbs and I said, how many independent restaurants in North Jersey do you think are doing this? They're, giving up these high commissions. And he's like, I don't know, all of them, kind of jokingly. He's not wrong. So I said, you know what? I was like, if anybody can solve this problem, it's you and me. Like, we know how to do this. So we made a couple of phone calls. We found a tech company called Bistro UX. They're similar to like a Chow Now or a Menufy, except way better. And they help restaurants to be able to take online orders, like, be able to take orders from their website without needing a driver, without taking commissions. And so we partnered with them and we said, okay, well, let's just build a competitor to Uber Eats. Let's build our own Grubhub or DoorDash or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And we'll have a couple of rules. Number one, there will never, ever be a commission, right? So if the sandwich on their menu is $12, they're going to get $12. Like, we're not going to eat into their bottom line. Andrew owns an independent restaurant. I own an independent restaurant. We know what it's like. It's like, okay, no commissions ever. Also, unlike a Chow Now or Menufy, no subscription. So essentially for the restaurant, it's totally free to use. Whatever you want to get paid for your food, you get paid for your food. Right. And they're like, okay, how do we also make this awesome for the guests, for the people who are ordering food? Well, what if we get rid of that horrible like fee that pops on at the end that you're all of a sudden like, man, my coffee, bagel, and a donut just became $50.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Those fees are insane.
Yeah. So there's no surprise fees either. So if you're a guest and you add a bunch of things in your cart, the only other thing you're going to pay is tax, tip, and delivery, which you would pay anyway. And we've also pre-negotiated a really favorable per delivery rate with a driver network. So the restaurant doesn't even need to have drivers, and it's $5 delivery. They can pay the $5. They can pass the $5 on to the guests. They can split the $5, but we're like, all right, we know how to solve this. And then the other couple other rules that we put into play: no chain restaurants ever. Right. So you open up a DoorDash and a Grubhub and it's Papa John's and McDonald's and KFC and Taco Bell and 7-Eleven. There's nothing wrong with any of those businesses. But like, if I'm trying to find the best burrito tacos in Bergen County, like, I got to scroll for pages. You know what I mean? So independent restaurants only, no commission, no subscription, no surprise fees for the guests. And we don't do any contracts and we don't do any agreements. So this is usually when we're in the call with the restaurant where they go, where's the catch? And there's no catch.
So the catch is you really want to do the right thing by these restaurants and help them because you are one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying we built something for us, but we built it so that we could help everybody. Baboo went live January-ish. We're April now, so I don't know, what's that? 8 weeks, 10 weeks? I'm bad at math. Yep. We have about 50 or 54 restaurants already on board. Almost entirely Bergen County. We have 3 or 4 in Manhattan. We have a couple in like Passaic and Essex, but for the most part, it's concentrated in North Jersey.
Mm-hmm. And what's the expansion plan look like?
We want to keep it to Bergen, greater Bergen County, greater New York, Rockland. We kind of want to keep it up here for a while. I think there's a great opportunity to help a lot of restaurants. We're not in a place where we're trying to feed investors. We don't have a large board of advisors. Like, it's 4 of us. Right. So we're not in a hurry. We just really want to help restaurants. And so, the other thing I would say to a consumer, if you open it up and there's only one restaurant available, it's not really a marketplace. So, it's another place to find the same place that you could have just Googled the name. So we just want to make sure that we're getting a couple thousand restaurants in Baboo before we start like, okay, should we move to Monmouth? Should we go into Pennsylvania? Should we go south? And really, like, sort of the magic part here. I know I'm kind of talking a lot, but sort of the magic.
You're doing a great job. You're making my job easier this morning.
Amen. That's why I wear Hawaiian shirts. Let everybody know I make life easier.
Do you always wear Hawaiian shirts, or is that every time I talk to you?
Nope, every day.
That's
like
awesome.
Even if I'm like sitting on the couch, like editing TikToks, I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I wear them every day. I'm hanging out with my kid. I don't wear them at the gym, which I don't rarely go to, but that's it, every day.
And so in the gym, you don't have it on, but you don't really spend a lot of time there. So most of the time you have a Hawaiian shirt on.
Hawaiian shirt, yeah. Okay, so the other thing too is because it's powered by me, and I have 120 some thousand followers on Instagram, and whatever 10,000 followers on TikTok, and then it's powered by Boozy Burbs. And he has the website, he has the social media, he has the email list. All the restaurants that are participating in Baboo also get featured on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you get on my Instagram, my TikTok, his Instagram, our website, in the email, the whole 9 yards, and that's all free. And we'll come to the restaurant, we'll take pictures, we'll take videos, we give you the pictures and videos. So what a restaurant might pay, $6,000 to $10,000 for in marketing, advertising, and content fees, totally free.
That's great. That's awesome for these 54 restaurants, and as you expand into further areas in Bergen County, that's a huge win for these restaurant owners.
I appreciate you saying that. That the idea is like, look, we know we have the power to bring it back to these independent restaurants, and that was our intention.
That's fantastic. And what's the feedback from these restaurants as well as the consumers of these restaurants? Are they like? I mean, again, everybody's got to like the discount and the paying less in fees. But I mean, is the user what's the user experience? What's the initial feedback on this? Test base of 50 restaurants.
It's been really positive. There's kind of like two ways to work with us. You can choose Baboo to be your online ordering. So I can go to your website and you can have our link and we place an order, and we essentially are your online ordering. You can also instead choose to just use us like a third party. So maybe you're using, you have online ordering through your POS company or something, and that's on your website, but you're also available on, Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Baboo. So you can work with us either of those. It probably goes without saying, but the restaurants that are using us as first party, meaning we are their online order, are seeing wild success because we're able to do more for them. We have a restaurant with 2 locations who had he's been around for years. He had his 3 best days in the history of his restaurant since turning on Baboo. So
that's awesome. Good.
Yeah. So feedback
and from a net perspective, he's in much better shape than he ever was if he was using the third party apps.
Yeah, he's an interesting case because he had first party ordering. He was paying for promotions on Grubhub. He was paying for promotions on DoorDash and Uber Eats. He had all the virtual restaurants. He had Mr. Beast Burger. I mean, he was a guy who was like, I will try anything, which I love the entrepreneurial spirit of this guy.
Sure.
He was like, he tried everything there possible was. Yelp ads, influencers, whatever. And it just, for some reason, wasn't connecting. And I said, look, let's take it all down. Let's just take the whole thing down. We'll get you on Baboo. We also, not to compete with your business, but for restaurants using Baboo, we also offer them a free website if they want it.
So now you're trying to put me out of business here. Thanks.
Listen, we should just figure out how to partner on that one. It'd be really easy because it's just a link. Anyway, so we build him a new website. His was a mess. We put up 2 online ordering links, 1 for each store, and we started focusing his marketing and tripled his business in like 3 months.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great case study.
So you're asking for feedback. The restaurants that are using us for first party absolutely love it because they're doing more business than they've ever done. And the restaurants that are using for third party are also really happy because any order they get, they didn't lose money on it.
Yeah. And I think that from the consumer standpoint, I mean, no one's going to have a problem. They just really want their order and order delivered and ease of use from the restaurant side.
Yeah, and then for consumer, there's 2 things that they like. Number one, they're not paying that. There's no surprise fee, and then essentially, even though it's a marketplace, you're ordering directly from the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, so if there's an issue with the order, it's the restaurant. It's not Grubhub or DoorDash. It's the restaurant, and it's us, and we're supporting it. And the other thing too, it's like, I don't know who cares about this. I do, but like, we're locals. Like, I live in Rutherford. Andrew lives in Fort Lee. Like, we are here. We eat this food. We go to these restaurants. We care about these places. We're not some giant corporation who's trying to suck dollars out of the back pocket of people we've never met. Almost every single restaurant that's on Baboo, we have been to.
I love it. I love it because it gives you that flair that I like when when we do stuff in Manasquan or Belmar. We live and work here. It's not just like we're just doing jobs and we don't know anything about the area or we haven't eaten at these places or been customers to whatever their business is. So I truly value that idea that you're you live and work in the community that you're supporting.
Yeah, it's awesome. And look, we have Rutherford, Ridgefield Park, Hackensack. We've had a number of different chambers of commerce already reach out to us. Like, how can we help you? What can we do? Like, amen. Let's get good food, good people at the right price. That's the idea.
Yep. that's a fantastic way to go. And I think, when you look at some of these independent restaurant owners, I think everybody thinks it's so easy to own a restaurant and,
Oh my
look what
God.
they charge for a steak or look what they charge for this, but I don't think that anyone understands all the costs that go into, running this restaurant. And, the costs have changed so much since COVID, and the cost, it's harder for labor, it's harder for, everything. So I think that a lot of people only see a Saturday night when it's packed. Like I was talking to a restaurant owner, and we were, I was saying, I was by your place on Saturday. You had a great crowd. He goes, Tom, you don't know what it's like on a Tuesday. You haven't been here on a Tuesday when it's like, there's no one here. So, understanding that from a restaurant's perspective is just, it's a different world. Everybody just sees the nights that they're sold out and when they can't get in it. And, he was saying, it was interesting. He was talking about like how a lot of other industries have dynamic pricing, but, the restaurants really don't, in the sense that like on a Saturday night, there's only so many tables that can be, served in the course of the evening.
Yeah, I think the dynamic pricing conversation is interesting because every full service restaurant bar has a happy hour. Isn't that dynamic pricing? You know what I mean?
Certainly.
And everybody does acquisitions offers like, your first hamburger's free, like that's dynamic pricing. And I increase my fees on Grubhub to make up for the deficit. That's like, we already have it. It's funny to me that people don't want to accept it. I think there's a better way to do it, but for sure we kind of already have that.
Yep, sure. So, I mean, it's at least, you're giving these guys an opportunity to kind of expand in a world where they're having where it's tough to be, an independent operator. I love that idea.
Sure.
And I guess we could talk about the dynamic in another discussion down the road. But you're absolutely right in some of those regards it's just, I think that when everyone's not crushing it, there's always something to complain about, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking, for a full service restaurant that's not busy on a Tuesday at lunch, that's an opportunity to think creatively. Like what does at 2:00 on a Tuesday, what do people in your town actually want? Is there a way for you to get that to them? You know what I mean? And I think that online ordering is a way to do that. You could have a separate menu. You could have something totally different. You could have exclusive items. If you're a steakhouse, maybe you have steak sandwiches on Tuesday afternoons. I don't know. But, to me, it's not a problem. It's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So now, within your world, like, how do you, for the entrepreneur out there that's listening and they're like, wow, you really have this you have this a system that is rocking. You have consulting, you have an online ordering, and you have a restaurant. Like, how do you divide and conquer your time, and how do you divide and conquer to make yourself successful while keeping, you have a child. So like kind of what, for the entrepreneur who's struggling with time, like how do you see that? How could you, give some insight on that?
Oh my God. Thank you for asking. That is a battle I fight literally every day. I live and die by my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it does not get done. And I'm not kidding you. So like I post to Instagram every single morning at 8:45 because that's when like my audience is optimized. It's in my calendar. I post to TikTok every day at 7:15 p.m. It's in my calendar. Like if I'm having dinner with my kid, it's in my calendar. Mm-hmm. So if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. So like car needs an oil change, it's in my calendar. So that is something that I put into play with myself a long time ago, that like it has to go in my calendar. Now that also include tasks. So if I'm on a call with a client and I have homework to do afterwards, I'm going to go write up a press release or help them with some email marketing or whatever. If I have something to do, I will block it in my calendar. So I'll put the 30 minutes in my calendar to work on whatever that thing is. And then I have a hard and fast rule, and everybody should do this. If you have to move it on your calendar, you can only move it 3 times. If you have to move it a third time, it's not a priority and you delete it. So if you've already moved it twice and you move it a third time, hell or high water, that's what you're doing with that time, whatever the task was. And so, I tell that to my restaurant clients. Like, let's say that their POS will not automatically move emails to like MailChimp or something, right? Mm-hmm. I go, okay, every Monday at 8 a.m., I want you to put in your calendar, export, from POS to add to MailChimp. Like, it doesn't matter. So my biggest hack is it's the calendar, man. I use it like that. And then, from there, the next thing is I like to work in what I call the magic circle, which is lowest amount of effort, highest reward. And that's not being lazy. I think that's being smart. It's like, okay, there's 1,000 things I could be doing as an entrepreneur right now. What's the one that's the easiest to do that also has the largest impact? Let's do that. Mm-hmm. So I use that prioritization system for a lot of things.
That's awesome. That's great feedback. I hope that people listen to that and go with that one, because both of those are great. I keep a daily list that I have it in my calendar. I have it in my iPhone calendar, but I also keep a physical piece of paper with all the things I have to do every day. And I, sometimes I handwrite it, but I also have it in Excel so I can just print it too. I find when the list is really long, I print the Excels so that I don't have to rewrite it the next day. But if the list is short, I'll handwrite it. So most days I am printing the Excel, but to me, there's that satisfaction just crossing that right off the list. Yep. Like, it feels good. But I like the idea of move it 3 times, like that's a pretty good way of prioritizing things. And again, starting to look at it and say, is this really worth doing? If it had to get moved 3 times, is it really something that, had to be done? Now, are you a delegator, or you would do it yourself?
So I think, for what we do for being entrepreneurs, delegation is actually like the hardest part, because it's like, you built this, you did it, you know what you wanted, it's in your brain, and to like essentially try to replicate your process or thinking in another person, sometimes it's like, it's just easier to do it myself. And like, that's the wrong way to grow a business. But I have learned over time to delegate. And I actually have a very different version of it. So my career coach and my financial advisor is always like, oh, when are you going to hire for this role? When are you going to hire for that role? And I'm like, never, ever. This is a business of one person. Instead, what I do, and restaurants can't necessarily do this, you and I can, is I find partnerships. So I find people who have companies who are really good at doing the thing that I could hire for, and instead of hiring for, I just partner. And so, like, let's say I need restaurants who really need much nicer looking websites. I would call you, like, Tom, what do you charge for this? How do you do it? Where do you go? You would tell me your price, and I would just outsource it to you. Mm-hmm. So a restaurant comes to me and says, hey, we need some really nice looking websites. So like, oh, great. We work with Wingman. Here's Tom, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'd rather have the partnership. It's easier for you to be good at what you're good at, and for me to be good at what I'm good at. Now, I do have a VA, and I think everybody, restaurant owners included, should have a virtual assistant, man. Once you get into a rhythm with a virtual assistant, amazing. It's my business would fall apart tomorrow without my VA.
And how long have you had a VA?
Shout out to Heather Donaldson.
Shout out. How long have you had Heather?
She is actually my 3rd VA. The first 2 didn't work out very well, but she and I have been working together for about a year.
Wow, great. Well, shout out to her. I hope that she keeps helping you stay organized. So
she's amazing.
As we wrap up this conversation, I want you to do a couple things for me. I want you to give the link to and how to find you on social media, the website links to both Baboo, plus if you want to, give a shout out to your restaurant, that'd be great too. And then, ideally, if somebody's in this space that's in the Bergen County area, like, what's the process if they're interested to get started with you?
Sure. So restaurants, Handcraft Burgers and Brew. We do smash burgers, fresh cut fries, craft beer, and sodas. If you're in Bryant Park or Times Square, stop on by. People seem to really like it. Social media, I'm easy. I'm Rev Ciancio on every platform: TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the one is that you liked, or just Google hospitality marketing, you'll find me. I also, if you're still like, I can't find you and Rev Ciancio is too hard to spell, I run the world's largest French fry themed Instagram account. It's Fun with Fries. That you can easily remember. And in the bio is curated by Rev Ciancio. Just click there. So awesome. Baboo, it's orderbaboo.com, BABOO.com. And people always like, where did the name come from? Because, like, oh, that's what we call my grandma, or that was the genie from Aladdin, or it's none of those things. For a while, we didn't have a name for it. We were just calling it Boozy Burbs Online Ordering, BBOO. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, what if we stick an A in there? Baboo. So that's what it is. It's Boozy Burbs Online Ordering.
I love it.
So if you're, listen, if you're a restaurant and you want to you want to work with Baboo, again, there's no catch. I told you exactly what it is. You just go to orderbaboo.com and there's a form there. You can link to us, or you can email me or DM me on any platform, or it's orders@boozybirds.com. It's pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad that I got you in the calendar today so that this happened. This is great. I love what you're doing. I love how you're helping local restaurants, and
Thank you.
keep doing great things out there.
Thanks, man. You too. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.